What is up, Dodgers Nation? Welcome to another episode of Designated Twitter. And on today's show, we're answering the question, what will the Dodgers do with Noah Syndergaard, and has he been a bust as a signing? And we want all your takes down below. What is your take? Do you think he's been a bust as a signing? What do you think the Dodgers should do? If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you really want to support the channel, smash that like button. And for our latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. So there's no way to sugarcoat it at this point. Noah Syndergaard has just been flat out bad for the Dodgers. He hasn't lived up to expectations. There was a lot of hype surrounding him when the Dodgers signed him to a one-year, $13 million contract. He said after the signing that he hoped to get back to 100 miles per hour. He said that there was no reason why he couldn't do just that. He also said everything the Dodgers touch turns into gold. Well, so far that hasn't been the case. And we asked you that question over on Twitter. What do you think the Dodgers should do with Noah Syndergaard? Because so far, if you look at his numbers, he ranks towards the bottom in pretty much every single category. He's 84th in ERA at 6.54. Among qualified pitchers with at least 52 innings thrown, his 303 opponent's batting average is the highest in the league. A 509 opponent slugging, that's 84th. A 15.3 strikeout rate, that's good for 82nd. And his FIP is sky high at 524. So he just hasn't had the results. The velo is still down, and he continues to struggle. The Dodgers have gone 4-7 in games that he started, and one of those games was one where he pitched just one inning in the Noah Syndergaard game. So he hasn't found it quite yet, and we're going to answer that question. What should the Dodgers do with Syndergaard? I have some thoughts on that coming up in a second. Is he a bust? Is it too early? I'm going to answer that too, but first, I asked the staff here that question. What should the Dodgers do with Noah Syndergaard? And here are their takes.
I do not think he'll go down as a bust. I mean, we're still 2 months into the season, and he made that crazy comment right now about how he'd give up his hypothetical firstborn child to get his old talents back. But, I mean, just him saying that shows how much he wants to improve. And I think Dodgers should let him ride it out. You know, it's, like I said, still very early in the season. Still a ton of games to be played. We're just getting into the summer. Let him get some more sunshine on him, and he'll be doing just fine.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, I was really one of the guys who was really hoping for a big year out of Syndergaard. I thought the Dodgers would be able to fix him. Unfortunately, it just hasn't been the case. And I don't think the Dodgers can keep sending him out there as a starter every fifth day. They just can't be giving up these games. They're currently 4-7 in games he starts. So I don't think they should DFA him. That's $13 million down the drain. But I think they should at least move him to the bullpen or put him on a little phantom IL right now. Try to get him right. I know he's determined to get good. But right now, they can't keep throwing him out there every fifth day. I hope it doesn't turn out to be a bust. Right now, it obviously would be, but hopefully they can find something to kind of get him back on track, at least in a smaller role for the rest of the season.
Yeah, right now, unfortunately, it is looking like a bust for Noah Syndergaard. I was also one of the ones who thought that he was going to have a resurgence here in LA, and through 2 months, it's not looking too good. Just hearing him, how he was talking after the game, after his last start, didn't sound too well. And at the moment, it's just not looking well. But hopefully, he could find the player he once was, but there's no sign of that right now. So right now it is a bust. Hopefully it's not the case later down the road.
So those were their fire takes, but here were your takes over on Twitter. Bleeding Dodger Blue tweeted, the expectations were very low and he didn't come close to hitting them. He's got to go. And then Nathan tweeted, he isn't a bust, but we knew what we were getting. One thing I look at with Syndergaard is the fact that he is averaging almost 5 innings per start, and that comes with a start where he had just 1 innings pitched. So look, at the very least, he has posted. He has gone out there every fifth day for the most part and 8 innings for this team. That's why I've called him this year's Craig Kimbrell, because of the fact that, yeah, he hasn't performed well. Yes, he has underachieved, but also he has taken some of the toll off the other pitchers' arms. And also, look, you look at some of the other options they have. They have dealt with a slew of injuries this season. Julio Urias, he's been out with the left hamstring strain. And I think the moment of truth is going to be, when does Julio Urias come back? Because when the Urias returns in Philly, presumably, I think that could be when either they place him on the IL or they cut ties. But look, they always say you don't punt on third down, right? You don't punt on second down. You punt on fourth down. I don't think we're at fourth down yet with Syndergaard. Do I think that he's ever going to throw 100 miles per hour again? No, those days are long gone. I mean, before the season started, we did an episode about our bold predictions, and the topic was, who do you think is going to be your biggest disappointment? And I'm not happy about this. I'm not proud to say this, but I listed Noah Syndergaard as my biggest disappointment.
But I would say Noah Syndergaard. I don't think he's going to produce
produce like Tyler Anderson produced last season. I don't think he's going to get back to be an ace or an all-star that a lot of Dodger fans are hoping that he will. I think he's going to be a back-of-your rotation guy. I think he's going to be solid. I think he's going to eat innings. Hasn't pitched more than 130 innings since 2019. So hopefully he can eat innings and just be solid for this team, but I don't see him re-emerging and reestablishing himself as an ace. But I still was wrong because I still thought that he was going to contribute more than he has. So I still think that it is early. But next one comes from Dale, who tweeted, maybe try him as a reliever. That way he can go all out for one inning, increase miles per hour instead of pacing. That's an interesting take, Dale. And yes, there is something to that. If you empty the tank as a reliever, maybe you will get an increase in your velocity, but still, it's nothing anywhere close to where he needs it to be. Look, some pitchers, they are velocity reliant, and Noah Syndergaard is one of those pitchers. He doesn't have an elite slider like Clayton Kershaw. He doesn't have a curveball or a changeup that he can go to get hitters out. And the reality is, it's not about the velo, it's about the command. You look at the home runs that he's serving up, he's missing out over the plate. And so if you have an increase in velocity, I don't think that's going to make a big difference because it's not going to get anywhere close to 99 or 100 miles per hour. But if you do consider that, moving him to the bullpen, I think that could possibly be the next step for Syndergaard. I think you would never see him in high leverage situations. It would always be in low leverage spots against the bottom of the order, lowest possible leverage. And look, he would give you some flexibility in the event that if someone else goes down, maybe you said, okay, you go take him to the bullpen and you put him right back in the rotation, because you saw what happened last season. You saw this rotation get decimated by injuries again. Like I said, it was like an episode of Squid Game, the way these pitchers were dropping. And maybe this year I get the feeling from this organization that I think they want to give themselves the insurance, the contingency plan, have those depth pieces in the event that guys go down. I mean, they're going to start hoarding starting pitchers and pitchers in general, just in case something like that happens. They're going to be hoarding pitchers like people were hoarding toilet paper at the beginning of COVID. So I wouldn't put it past them. I definitely think there's a chance you could keep him in the bullpen until you cut ties them all together. But another option you could have too is you could just keep running him out there. You could keep giving him opportunities to see if things can click, because the big issue with Syndergaard, aside from the velocity decrease and the fact that he's a shell of himself, is the fact that the mechanics aren't right. The extension has gone down. His extension was at one point one of the highest in the league. Now he's in the 62nd percentile. So that tells you mechanically he's not in sync. And you saw after the game, I think when you look at Syndergaard, the thing that really hurts is you feel for the guy. I mean, this is a guy that clearly wants it worse than anyone else. It's not like he's not going out there and trying to do his very best. And he said yesterday, I would give my hypothetical firstborn to be the old me again. I'll do anything possible to get that back. So that's quite a sacrifice that he's willing to make to get back to the guy he was when he was one of the best stars in the league. And also he said, I just feel like I'm the only weak link on this team. I want to go out there and compete and be successful for other guys in this clubhouse, but it's just not working out. So the tone in his voice, the read for me on that is, it looks like he wants some time out of the rotation to try to correct some things and try to find out, hey, what is going on here? Because he's already alluded to some mental issues when it comes to it being a block and him not being able to get that high velocity. So it sounds to me that he wants an opportunity to take some more bites of the apple, but after they figure some things out. Then the other option too is you could DFA him. I mean, that's the reality. And you talk about this Dodgers team that is paying Trevor Bauer $22 million to pitch in Japan. And you look at other teams in this division, the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are paying Madison Bumgarner $35 million. $13 million for Noah Syndergaard is a drop in the bucket for this organization. So if you want to go the DFA route, that definitely is a possibility. And you're talking about $7 or $8 million remaining on that contract if they choose to do that. But I think there is a danger in doing that. I think there is a danger in cutting ties too soon with Syndergaard. And that's because how did the Dodgers get Syndergaard in the first place? How did they get a guy that had multi-year offers out there? It's because of their reputation. It's because of the fact that pitchers out there know that if you come to Los Angeles and you go to Dr. Pryor's pitching lab, you can get your career back on track. You can have a Tyler Anderson resurgence like we saw last season and sign yourself a $39 million deal. The Dodgers don't want to cut ties and shake that reputation in any way. So I still think they're going to try to figure it out as much as they can. But look, plug. Is he one of the best 5 starting pitchers in this rotation right now? I think the answer is unequivocally no. There's no way you could make that case, and I think it's definitely a sad sight to see. But let's get back to your tweets here. And for this week's Joranitos tweet of the week, that comes from Jim Cantrell, who tweeted, "It was a great gamble, but sadly not going well. Time to pick up the chips and leave the table. Hopefully, he can figure out a way to get the respect back for his fastball." And that is from our friend Jim Cantrell over on Twitter. The designated Twitter tweet of the week presented by our friends over at Joranitos Premium Tequila. Please drink responsibly. But yeah, the Dodgers, they have a difficult decision to make. And like I said, you don't want to see this. You hope that he was going to be the guy with the Mets, a guy that was going to be a dominant starter once again, but so far it just hasn't been the case. We've read you the numbers. Thor has been a thud so far for this Dodgers team. He's not throwing those thunderbolts. He's getting hammered out there, and you hate to see it.
Now, Dave Roberts has already announced that Noah Syndergaard will make his next scheduled start against the Cincinnati Reds next week, and they're not going to pull the plug just yet. He told reporters, "We're in it with him. It's hard to try to work things out, figure things out when you're in the middle of it and going through it in a big league ball game. There were some good things and there were some things that were not so good as far as execution, swing and miss versus right, but we were 1 out away from getting him through that 5th inning. We didn't convert a double play, and obviously he had an opportunity to put that inning to bed but couldn't do that." I really don't know what to say about the outing. I don't. I think it's a lot of the same as what we've seen. It's certainly not from lack of preparation or effort. Right now is just not working out. So yeah, my read on the situation, just being there yesterday, talking to some people, they're not ready to move off Noah Syndergaard yet. All hope is not lost in their eyes. They still believe they can get something out of him. And look, the reality is they're not fully healthy. The reality is they don't have tons of options that are big league ready right now. So letting Noah Syndergaard get some more opportunities, get them closer to the trade deadline, get them closer to getting guys back, and then they'll reevaluate him. By the end of the year, I don't think he's going to be in this Dodgers rotation, but at the moment, he still can provide innings, and maybe the light turns on for him. I have pretty much given him hope that he's going to be a guy that you can count on, but this organization, they are not going to do that just yet.
Will he be on the postseason roster? No. Is he going to be a guy that can contribute out of the bullpen? No. Is he a guy you could see in an Andre Jackson-like role? Maybe, possibly, but still, I just think that he's not going to provide very much value. He's at minus 0.4 WAR at this point, ERA close to 7. So, yeah, it just did not work out. And I think you're going to look back, is this a bust of a signing? I think it's hard to call it a bust of a signing because it was at 1 year and $13 million. What I always tell you, there's no such thing as a bad 1-year contract. The bad contracts are the ones, they're multi-year deals. The ones where we saw with Schmidt back in the day. Deals like that where they didn't contribute at all. I mean, look at Trevor Bauer, $102 million. They're paying him $22 million to pitch over in Japan. So I wouldn't say it's a bust. I think it was worth the risk. But I also think, too, one thing you have to appreciate with this organization in recent years, and something we saw last year with Craig Kimbrell, is they're willing to move off guys. They understand when it's time to pull the plug. I think they're going to make the right decision with Noah Syndergaard. I'm not going to say Syndergaard or anything like that. You know, Noah's got to go or things like that. I'm not going to do that right here. But I will say that, hey, you know, I always say what must be done eventually should be done immediately. This one, I'm holding off a little bit just because of the current state of the rotation. But let us know down below in the comment section. What do you think the Dodgers should do with Noah Syndergaard? Do you want to see him DFA'd? Should they send him to the bullpen? Do you want to see him make his next start? We're going to talk about that in a later episode too, but let us know down below. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.